Hey guys, Tim here with the Long-Haired Gardener, and today is the day I've been waiting for. It's the day that I can finally bring outside all of those plants that I have overwintered in my apartment, and I can plant them outside because it is consistently pretty warm outside. So that is what is on the agenda today. Also, I want to just show you around some of the plants that are currently blooming. So let's go ahead and take a look at those now, and then we'll get started on planting some plants outside. All right, let's start off by taking a look at this clematis. I'm surprised by how many blooms there are already. And we also have a couple irises blooming. We've got a purple one here, and we have a white one right over here. And we also have some columbine just starting to bloom. So let's just take a look here. Has this nice purple and white center. And there's also a yellow one here. Just want to take a look at that profile so you can see how interesting that shape is. I love this plant. And it's kind of like a pale yellow, almost lemonade color. Alright, so let's get started on potting up some of these plants. And they are mostly, like right here, I've got an elephant ear, and I also have this Cypress Palm in the distance here. These are things that I've just had in my apartment, and I've been eager to get them outside, so let's get started with those. So the first thing I'm going to plant is this upright elephant ear, and I saved it from last year. And probably within the last month, I just put in some soil and put it in the windowsill just to kind of get it a nice start, to break it out of dormancy. And you can see it has some really good roots right here. So I'm just going to put it in this pot. This soil is relatively loose, so I'm not even going to use a shovel. I'm just going to use my hand here. And basically, I'm just dropping this into the pot. So it's not necessary to start this plant inside. Last year, it just took a really long time for the bulb to come out of dormancy, so I thought I would get it a head start by starting it in a pot this year, in a sunny windowsill, and I'm quite happy with the progress. I also believe last year I had it in a too shady of a spot, so this year we're going to try it in full sun and see what happens. All right, let's go on to the Cypress Palm next. All right, this is the Cypress Palm that I wintered over inside. I'm a little happy and surprised that it wintered over so well, because this plant requires a lot of water, and thankfully I tend to be an overwaterer. So I'm just going to take it out of the pot here and put it in the center of this pot. So I had this plant in this spot last year, so I know it really likes it here. So that is the Cypress Palm plant. So in this pot I'm going to be planting the Colocasia teacup. I currently have it in with also the Colocasia mojito. So I just need to separate those and put the teacup in the back here. This is going to be the tall thriller plant. And then I'll come back later and put all of the smaller plants in the front once I buy them. So let me just get started here on separating these and planting this in the back of the pot. I'm trying this plant in a much sunnier location this year, and I think, or at least I hope, it can take the afternoon sun that it gets here. But most gardening and placing plants is, you know, it's an experiment. So last year I had this plant more in the shade and then moved it over here in a pot, and it seemed to do actually better in the more sunnier location. And I've also seen some other gardeners on YouTube who put theirs in the sun, and they seem to have really good luck with it being in a sunnier location. So I'm going to take a chance, put this in the sun this year, and now we are going to take the mojito and put it in one of the planters over here off to the right. So I do want to point out that the soil is very dry, so I'm going to have to come back in here when I'm all finished and really water them in well. Alright, so that's all for the Colocasia mojito. Just need to water that in, like I said. And also down here today, I think I'm going to move these dahlias. They grew here last year and they really didn't do that well because I think it's too shaded. Interesting thing about these dahlias, I did not dig them up, so they actually survived over the winter, which is really nice. But just to give them a better chance of thriving and blooming, I think I'm going to move them over here in this area, which is going to require me to cut back some of these bulbs that have finished blooming or folding the foliage. And I can show you what I mean by that in just a second. So it's a good idea to leave the green parts of your bulbs uncut as long as possible, just because the plant needs the leaves to draw nutrients back into the bulbs. But once they reach this point, like this tulip, I can cut that off with any problem. Even these hyacinths are starting to look a little like pale in color, and I could probably cut those off. But for ones that I don't want to cut back yet, I do something where I just fold the foliage down, and that helps take up less room so that I can plant other plants around the bulbs while their foliage is dying off. So let me just show you what I mean by that. Alright, so here are some daffodils, and what I mean by folding, it's real easy. I just take a clump. So it looks like I'm going to do 2 clumps right here, and all you have to do is just gently fold them down, and then I take one of the longer leaves at the edge here and I just wrap it around and tuck it underneath here. So you're just like creating a knot. I'm gonna go ahead and do this one. Just gonna set one of these leaves off to the side, fold down, and I'm gonna do a little wrap here. and just tuck this underneath. And there we go. You can see how this takes up far less space than when they're all wild and flopping all over the place. And this way I'm not cutting off the foliage prematurely. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to some of the other bulbs that have finished blooming so that I can create space to bring over those dahlias. Alright, you can see how I've kind of created a spot here for these dahlias. And I did not cut back this tulip, but let me go ahead and do that right now. There we go. So at the moment, I don't really have to fold all of the bulbs. Basically, I'm just making a spot so that I can plant the dahlia. So I think I'm going to put it right here, and it looks like it's a good spot because I know I'm not going to accidentally dig into any of the bulbs that are down there. So let me go ahead and move that dahlia. Right, I got everything planted and now it's time to just water them in. It's amazing how quickly the stuff is already starting to wilt. So let me just go ahead and get those plants watered in. Alright, here we go. First time using the hose this season. You can see this dahlia is already wilting a little bit. And when I was digging in the pots, the soil was pretty dry. So just want to make sure to water these in really well. Also got to come over here, a good opportunity to wash off the pots. So yeah, I'm just going to go around and water all of these freshly potted plants. Alright, let's just do a little quick walk around and see what we did. So we've got this nice cypress fern in the center of this pot. Got the dahlias moved. We got the Mojito colocasia planted, and coming over here we also have the colocasia teacups planted. We have the upright elephant here, and we've got some of the spring bulbs folded down or trimmed back and moved the dahlias over here to a much sunnier spot. Alright guys, that's everything for today. Thanks for coming along as I bring all of my indoor wintered over plants outside and pot them up. And the next step is going to be buying some annuals and planting them. So thanks for coming along on my journey today. If you like these videos, please click like and subscribe. See you later.